Welcome to Sharing Hope. I'm your host, Jamie George, and our guest is Mr. Chris Hogan. Chris is a two-time #1 national best-selling author. He's a financial expert and host of the Chris Hogan Show. For more than a decade, Chris has been serving with Ramsey Solution. Have you ever heard of this guy named Dave Ramsey? He knows a little bit about money. And Chris has been equipping and challenging people to take control of their money and hit those financial goals. His second book, Everyday Millionaires, How Ordinary People Built Extraordinary Wealth and How You Can Too, is based on the largest study of millionaires ever conducted. So this guy has been at it for a while. He's a friend. He is full of life and personality. And to me, I'm just thrilled to death to have him with us today. Welcome, Chris Hogan.
Well, thank you, buddy. It is good to be with you.
Hey, good to see you, man. It's just been too long.
Yeah, it has.
Well, Chris, having conversations with everybody, and everybody for me is my 13-year-old daughter to my 77-year-old father, to friends I haven't talked to in a long time, through some kind of technology for various reasons we've wound up reconnecting, but just checking in with people, and as you know, I'm a coach, so talking with my clients. The level of uncertainty has created a great deal of fear. And man, and I know it. I mean, I'm feeling the weight of stuff that was canceled. Our mutual friend, Paul, we were going to create a live show. Our premiere was supposed to happen 3 months ago. We pushed it off 3 months now. Lots of us are feeling the squeeze economically and feeling the fear. How are you coaching people and guiding people in this world of unknown who are going, should I file for unemployment or should I hang in there? Where do I put my energy, both internally, because I know you've been at work with this internally. How do you deal with that internal stuff? And then practically speaking, what do I do about how should I handle my money in a time like this?
Yeah, Jamie, you're right. I mean, this is an unprecedented time. We typically have seen things that have impacted the U.S. or impacted other countries, and we see it in the news and we're able to watch it and have empathy. But this is something that's having a global impact, this COVID pandemic. And it's real, and as far as the fear factor. And I'm telling people that, listen, fear is a very real thing, but it's not the only thing. And I think that there is a force that's stronger than fear, and that's hope. And when we're able to look at things and really make a decision on, I think it's imperative to do this. I've got to control the controllables, right? If I try to control something that I don't have control over, I waste energy, time, resources, and as well as emotions. And so I'm telling people point blank, you've got 4 things that you can control: your faith, your attitude, your outlook, and your actions. Those 4, don't ever surrender them. You have the choice and the ability to stay in control of those. So moving over into the financial world, I'm telling people, listen, you got to be real with yourself. I'm telling people, you got to go into conserve mode. That means we're not wasting unnecessary money, being very, very intentional. And I've done close to around 80 media hits.
Wow.
My publicist, Mackenzie Masters, has kept me running all over the place. But I'm trying to make sure people remain calm and clear. And I think it's important for us to have that kind of mindset so we can hang in there and deal with this as long as we have to.
And is the starting place, is it an internal, like we're like, oh, practically I got to do this, and I know I got to grab the checkbook, and let's get with my spouse, and we're gonna, what can we cut back on? Does it start actually internal? Is it an attitude thing first?
I think you're right. I think the internal decision has to be made. Now listen to me. We have all been through tough times. Okay, we've all either had personal tough times or something in business or something that didn't go as planned. I want people to call back on those muscles. Well, how did you handle that? What were the lessons you learned as you walked through that? Because that's what we need right now. The internal decision that I made in the midst of all this, and I'll be honest with you, I had some fear, I had some uncertainty, I had all the things. But ultimately what I came back to was that God is in control, and I trust him. With my life, I trust him. And I've seen some unknowns before, but I'm going to hold on to the known. And I know him, and he knows me. So walking through that, I'm not going to allow fear to take control. I am going to focus on the tangible things that I can do when I can do it.
Is there a point in your story where you felt something like this, some massive level of uncertainty? You didn't know what was going to happen. You called up that, or maybe you're building new muscles at the time, or you were calling back on that muscle memory like you're talking about. What did you do? Like, what's a practical thing that helps root you, ground you?
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to go back to a time where, Jamie, I had more hair and I was smaller, okay? I was smaller. I had more hair and I was smaller. This was back in my second semester, my senior year in college. I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do next. You know, college is coming to a close. You know, from kindergarten through high school, you've got your life plan for you, right? And you go to college 4 more years, you know you've got that plan.
Yeah, right.
Now you're coming to where the rubber meets the road. And I'll never forget, I had 3 opportunities in front of me, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. This story has shaped my life. I'm sitting at my grandmother, I called her Nan. I'm sitting at her dining room table, stressing out, trying to figure out what's next. I've got all 3 options sitting there on the table. She walks in and she goes, "Babe, what are you doing?" I said, "Nan, I'm trying to figure out what's next." And so she said, "Tell me a little bit about each." I told her about all 3 options. She took a sip of her coffee. She looked at me. She's a little bitty thing. And she looked at me and she goes, "Honey, it's easy." She goes, "You need to grab the opportunity and avoid the chances." And she said it again. "You need to grab the opportunity and avoid the chances." Then she grabbed her glasses and coffee and strolled out of the kitchen like little black Yoda, right? Like, she gave me wisdom. She's gone, right? And I remember sitting there going, opportunity versus chance. You see, a chance is like a coin flip. 50-50, it'll land on heads. 50-50, it lands on tails. But an opportunity leads you somewhere. Never forget, I sat there, I prayed about all 3 of those options, and it became very clear to me which one was an opportunity. Now, I tell that story because as we walk through life, there are doors that are there, that are paths that we can take. I want people to choose the path that leads you towards something that matters to you and in your heart. And I think when we choose that opportunity and we consistently follow it, it'll lead us somewhere special. And so that's a muscle that she gave me way back then that I continue to apply right now to this day in my life.
Chris, that's phenomenal. I'm sitting there thinking right now about all the musicians I deal with, and I'm like, chance. So, because we have a lot of friends in the music industry.
Yep.
I mean, it's really hard to tell the difference between opportunity and chance because it feels like everybody's rolling the dice, in the entertainment business, right?
Right.
What's when you get really right down to it, and you're like, if something is close, you're like, it kind of feels like an opportunity, but it kind of feels like a chance. Is there like an ultimate, like dividing, this is kind of how I make the final call?
Hey, listen, all I know, I go back to my grandmother. She told me, "Baby, always be prayerful and careful." Right? And so that's my tie break.
Okay.
Is to sit still. And not everybody, and I'm not good at sitting still. You've seen, I've been wiggling throughout this whole time, but learning to sit still and have peace. And as far as being able to see, and oftentimes we can gain some clarity.
Yeah.
We can look at it. And guess what? I think like a scientist. I'm not scared to fail. You ever notice with the scientists, they never fail. It's always the experiment that fails.
Right.
They keep going. And so I kind of have that spirit about me where I'm not scared to try some stuff. And guess what? If it doesn't work, I'm not scared to pivot and try again.
That's good. That's really, really good. And I like, there's something about the simplicity. I love it. You said your grandmother is Black Yoda because there's something about the simplicity of the phrases, like be prayerful and careful.
Yes.
Because sometimes I deal with this in coaching. If we go into some kind of psychosomatic in here, and I'm giving them some academic breakdown, they're like, "Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about," and I don't actually even really care that much about what the neural pathway is in my brain. I need a hook.
Yes.
What is that about? And I know you do that financially too. There are a lot of phrases you use. It seems like, does that kind of help? Is that a grounding mechanism too? Like a phrase that
it really does, in my opinion, and you know this, you are a masterful storyteller. I've listened to you preach over the years and I've heard you speak. You know the power of visual examples. You also know the power of being able to give people things they can go back to. And I think it's really important to help people to have those visual pictures, to have that image, and to be able to give them the opportunity to revisit it, but also to be able to wrestle with it. You
Mm.
know, I'm not scared. I mean, I speak against credit cards. These are $1 billion industry, right? They're all over the place, providing fake financial hope to people. Well, I speak against them all the time, and people don't want to hear it sometimes. And I'm like, listen, I'm not telling you what you want to hear. I'm telling you something you need to hear. Because
Mm.
in times like this, when the average person has $7,500 in credit card debt, and sometimes have on average 4 to 5 of them, these people are feeling the crunch right now. And so we need truth so we can search for a plan and have a clear path on how to get better.
Mm. Chris is so good. So let's do some of the practical stuff. So folks are going right now. They're, our family's done this. We've said, okay, hey, look, we know we're losing this income, but what's a luxury? And we've done this a lot of times. We're like, okay, it's a new conversation about what's a luxury.
Right.
And as we're praying about provision, what are we really praying for? Are we praying for, like, can we do Amazon Prime and Netflix? Like, are we going to have to cut Disney Plus? Like, when we're praying for provision,
Yeah.
what exactly is it we're praying for? So it's been a good exercise for our family to, are there some things you're suggesting practically for people because this thing still has uncertainty to it. What should we do with our money right now?
Well, I'm telling people, number one, go into conserve mode. So you want to be mindful on everything that's being spent, really being intentional. I'm advising people to cut out the gym membership.
Mm-hmm.
It's $150 to $200 a month, and you can't even go there right now.
Right.
Shut that thing down. That's saving you money. Look at some of the other subscriptions. People forget what they've signed up for.
Right.
In times like this, you start to become more aware. But I'm also advising people to take care of the 4 walls. And by 4 walls, I'm talking about your housing. So that could be your rent or your mortgage. Then I'm talking about the utilities associated with that, the lights, electricity, all the things. Then you've got to make sure you've got food on the table, and then you've got to make sure you have gasoline in your car. Okay. Right? Those things are an absolute must. From there, you fall out into second and third level. But it's really important to really look at it and be intentional about what you're deciding. Now, I'm advising people, if your income is stable and your job is stable, then you need to keep living as you were living. That was attacking debt, saving, or investing for the future. Okay. But if you've had to deal, a lot of people, my heart goes out. We've got almost 26 million people unemployed right now, where if you've had a job loss or hours have been cut back or you've been furloughed, you are going to just pause any kind of progress, and you're really focusing to maintain on existence. That is taking care of those 4 walls.
Yeah. When's the last time you remember seeing this level of uncertainty with people? And is there some hope? Can you go back to a story or stories where you go, hey, I saw this happen at this time, and maybe it wasn't global because, like you said, this is unprecedented, but it's just another season. And is there a story or some word of encouragement for, hey, this is what the other side can look like?
Well, I immediately go back to the Great Recession of 08 and 09.
Okay.
Where we had the financial institutions that were floundering. Real estate was a terrible situation with short sales and foreclosures. I mean, it was tough all the way around. And we went through a very tough, almost 18-month period there. And people were looking at this and they were saying it's never going to come back and the market's never going to respond. And I remember looking at it and I'm going, hold on a minute. This is just another situation that we're walking through. Because I remember back to 9/11. The day that we were attacked by those terrible people, right? The market dropped, but it came back. You go back further than that, Y2K.
Yeah.
I mean, the calendar was going to change and everybody.
Right. Everything was going to stop working, right?
And the market went down and it came back. See, here's what I know, Jamie. The stock market is a living, breathing thing. When people are happy and optimistic, the market is going to climb. People are scared or fearful or negative, the market's going to drop. The reality is it's a roller coaster.
Okay.
It goes down, but it's going to come back. So for me, I look at history as that guide for me, as that lesson to tell me, even in the midst of this, right now where the market is down, but let's look back 2 months ago. Unemployment was at an historic low of 1%, right? The market was booming. Everything was going great. And so within 60 days, because of this pandemic, we've experienced whiplash going the other direction. I just want people to remain calm. Don't liquidate your 401k. Remain calm and clear. Connect with your investment professional. Have real life conversations. But the market is going to come back.
Okay, that's really good. Well, any advice for those of us who live with someone else and we're managing money with someone, a partner, a spouse, maybe a business partner, maybe you're trying to help your kids manage a thing. When you get to the place where you just see differently, and one person's more afraid than the other, one's more conservative than the other, any guidance for when that conflict comes up? Any help in negotiating?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great question. I think, God has a sense of humor. All right. We always tend to be attracted to somebody different than us. Right. And so the reality is I think the best uniting thing you can do when you have two opposing sides is to go to what you have agreement on. Where do we gain agreement? Most parents, fathers and mothers, they have dreams for themselves for later in retirement, or they have hopes and dreams for their children. So let's start there.
Yeah.
What are things that we can do to move us closer to our dreams together? What are things we do to be able to help our kids? And so too oftentimes we camp on where we're different. This is not a time for lobbying. This is a time for uniting. And so start where you gain agreement, and let's gain. And sometimes you got to agree to disagree. I mean, you do, but there's a decision has to be made. And let's make that decision out of the spirit of we instead of you or me.
So good. For those who have kids, their parents going through this, and we all have a sense, and I do think you're right, referencing Y2K and 9/11, 2008, there's a little bit more, at least I feel this with a lot of the people I'm interacting with, I certainly feel a little more awareness of like, okay, we're living history. Like everyone's going to tell this story for the rest of their life. Hey, what did you do during the quarantine? Or what was that like? Or like, we kind of know this is some kind of a historic moment. Any advice for parents on how to guide our children while we're in it? Anything we're meant to say to them to not overfunction for them, not like keep them from like almost kind of put them in denial and pretend everything's fine and rosy, but at the same time give them hope. So, especially developmentally when you have young children, any thoughts for us as parents on walking through this with our kids?
Wow. I've got 3 boys. And so, walking through this scenario where at times I've been uncertain, what I found to be real for them is to tell them, you know what, I've never seen anything like this before. This is new. And at times I have been scared or fearful or irritated about something. I talk with them. I want to be upfront. Here's what I've learned as a parent, having done many things wrong as a parent. Thank God my children have survived my wrongness. But I want to err on the side of shooting straight, meaning I want to be real with them. I want to talk with them, not at them. And when you're having a conversation with someone, this is not a monologue, right? It's a dialogue. So that means I'm advising parents out there, I want you to listen more than you talk. Like if you want to know what your kids are thinking, ask them some open-ended questions. How do you feel about this, right? What do you think is happening next? What are the things that scare you? What are the things that you enjoy? And I want you to have that conversation. Give them a chance to process. I'm a verbal processor, so talking out loud, it helps me to function and move faster. Give your kids that opportunity.
Is it okay to like have them set goals and go, hey, when this is over, these are the things we're looking forward to? Is that a healthy thing?
I think it is. I think that's a healthy thing for us as adults.
Yeah.
The problem is that we have the question mark of not knowing when it's over. So we don't have, because right? Hope delayed makes the heart sick. And so what I am encouraging people to do is to talk about what are the things you're going to do when it's over, but more importantly, what are some things you're going to do today that bring you a sense of enjoyment? Like I do my Instagram live every day at 11 here recently, and I challenged my followers to reach out to 5 family members that you haven't talked to in a while. Pick up the phone and call them. Find 5 friends you haven't talked to in a while. Reach out and call them. See, what we're doing now is going to be constructive, not on what we can't do, right? No, that's pessimism. What can I do? I can help build and connect with people that I haven't talked to in a long time because maybe I've been too busy before.
That's so good. I went into the storage and I was like, I've got croquet, hockey sticks. I told my 13-year-old daughter, I was like, we're going to play hockey. She's like, what? I don't want to play hockey. I'm like, you might date a guy one day who plays hockey.
That's right. Hey, listen, I pulled out this badminton set. The net was all jacked up. It didn't work. I told my kids we're going to adapt and overcome. So I got the 2 rackets and the little birdie things. We use the fence as the net. Right?
That's amazing.
Oh, yeah. My neighbors come out there looking at us like we're on ESPN. We were a sports function over there, dude. We had a lot of fun.
And isn't that in itself is a form of learning? Like, hey, this is being resourceful, like, oh, that's cool. I love that. So you are doing an Instagram live. So that is a thing people could go to if they just kind of want to check in, get some hope from you, some guidance.
Yeah, you can connect with me. I've got the Chris Hogan Show.
Okay.
You can go to my website, chrishogan360.com. You can connect with me on all the socials and all the things there. I'm trying to help people stay focused on what we can control, and at the same time, giving them some guidance of what they can do with their money, but also in their business.
Good. Okay, so let me close with this. So for you personally, is there anything over the last 4 to 6 weeks that you're like, well, I finally got to read that book or watch that show? Or, I mean, is there something that has been interesting for you? Something you've learned about you that's been curious, or something you kind of got around to that you otherwise wouldn't have done?
All right, I'm going to tell them myself here. I'm a junior hoarder, okay? I'm a junior hoarder. I am. I really am. I keep everything, right? Because it's got a memory attached to it.
Yes. Oh, you're my mother. Yes.
My mom. It's DNA. My mom is an executive hoarder, okay? She hasn't been on that TV show yet. I hope she doesn't see this. But anyway, I cleaned up and organized my office, right? And was really starting to dig in and throwing away some stuff. I've started to go through some clothes to be able to take to Goodwill because I realize people are in need now.
Yeah.
And so me holding on to that is not going to be helpful. But I've also started to get back to music. I realize music makes my heart happy. And so I'm listening to more music. I am doing that intentionally because it just boosts my mood. So I encourage your listeners and your followers, do some stuff for you. Right? Find that favorite movie, find that video, find that music. And I want you to make sure to be intentional with that, because if it's hard to be hateful when you're grateful. And if you've got that spirit of gratitude, you can start to look for other ways to share it with others.
So do you have a classic artist you're going back to, or a new artist? Have your kids been like, Dad, you got to listen to so-and-so?
No, man, listen, I'm going back to the good old days. I'm listening to Michael Jackson. I've got Prince. I've got Whitney. I've got Billy Joel, Elton John. I'm all over the place, Jamie, but I'm rocking, man.
Oh, I love it. It's amazing. Oh, dude, so good to see you. And thanks for hanging. And again, if people want to find you, they can go to Chris Hogan 360. Facebook, Instagram, all the stuff.
Thanks.
Man, thanks for giving back and being an inspiration, brother.
Hey, man, it's good to see you. Call me anytime.
All right, take care.